Well, obviously the tapes throw up a number of issues, but I'll deal with the main ones here. Obviously, it shows beyond all doubt that the charges against me were ridiculous. They were politically contrived charges, and it was all down to the PSNI, who seem to have decided they have a political position, and I don't know where they got the democratic mandate for that political position. But they seem to have sat down with maybe members of Sinn Féin or whoever else. And if you listen to the interview tapes, you'll see just how political the police actually are. But they seem to have got this political position and decided, well, if people agree with this political position, we will give them immunity to do whatever they want. And if they don't agree with this political position, which we have no democratic mandate and we have just decided is the acceptable political position, we will legally intern them, or we will use legislation or speech legislation because we don't like the political views. So who decides what's an acceptable political view and who isn't? And where did the PSNI get the legislative or democratic mandate to do that? Are they going to answer that? I think that he made a mockery of the Serious Crime Act by trying to use it against people like myself and Willie, and prosecutors sort of need to look at it now and look at what a joke the police have actually made of the law. But that's another thing. They've made a fool of themselves in the court, and legal circles is laughing at them, so they'll fall on their own sword in that one. But the big issue here for society, whether you're a nationalist, a unionist, a loyalist, or a Republican, is this: the PSNI openly admit in these interview tapes that they facilitated illegal processions to prevent a further breach of public order. And they're saying we done this as common sense policing and to prevent public order situations. Let's logically look at that, what they're actually saying. What they're saying is, we will allow an offence to take place because if we don't, a bigger offence may take place. Or, if it is politically expedient, we will allow an illegal offence to take place and then go after the people afterwards. Now that might sound okay, just the way they'll dress it up, but let's logically follow that through to what that actually means. And what that means is the PSNI are saying, when we decide it's okay to break the law, we will let you go ahead and do it, and not tell you you're breaking the law. We will let you go ahead and do it because we believe it's for the greater good. Now who gives them the democratic mandate to believe that or decide that? I don't know, because apparently they're not political, Matt Baggett tells us. So where in legislation or where in law does it say that the police can decide when the law does apply and when it doesn't apply? So that's okay, and people may say, okay, they've done this, but it's only a procession, it's only an illegal walk, or, not a major issue. Well, let's logically follow this through to its conclusion, because there's no boundaries, there's no legislation. The police are acting outside of the law. So when they go outside of the law, who decides where the boundaries are? So if they police for political expediency, does that mean if somebody's a threat to the stability of the political institutions and they know that somebody's going to go and shoot that person, they will allow that person to be shot dead? But sure, they'll go after the gunman afterwards and prosecute him. Because that is the logical conclusion to what the police are saying here. And that sounds extreme. It's not extreme. It's absolutely not. We were told the PSNI was going to be this accountable, transparent police force. The fact is they're not. They get away with so much under what they term common sense policing. It is actually unbelievable. The police need to be held accountable by the public and by the democratically elected representatives. It doesn't matter what community you're from. It doesn't matter whether you're a loyalist, you're a Republican, you're a unionist, you're a nationalist. The PSNI cannot be allowed to legally intern people on the basis of their political opinion. And that goes for anybody. If somebody commits a criminal offence, that's fine, and everybody should be dealt with equally under the law and equally by the law. So they can't deal with one person one way for an offence and deal with somebody else another. For example, lifting somebody for a procession, which, if it was ordinary Joe Public, they would get a caution. But if it's a loyalist who happens to have extreme political views, they would get jail time. And they will oppose bail. That's nonsense. Everybody has to be dealt with the same, fairly, under the law. And who gives, again, the PSNI, the democratic mandate to decide whose political opinion is accepted and who isn't? The police would need to stick to dealing with offences and charging people who have committed offences. Now, this goes back to, did the PSNI facilitate these processions? I can state for an absolute fact, yes they did. The PSNI held meetings on the Saturday mornings before these processions with community representatives, and they agreed for processions to take a certain route. They done deals. That means the police were aware of what they now say is an illegal offence before it happened, and they did not tell people, and they allowed it to go ahead and happen. That means A, the PSNI are co-conspirators, and under Section 46 of the Serious Crime Act, encouraging or assisting offenders, the PSNI officers who give the go-ahead for that are guilty. They should be charged. The PSNI are not immune from the law. They should be charged. And I will make damn sure that they will be charged, because they will not get away with this. Because it starts off small now, something like this, and then the power goes unchecked. What else are they going to do? Where does this stop? And what's the parameters? If we allow them away with this, which may seem like a silly thing, if we let them away with this, we're setting a very dangerous precedent. And when I say we, I mean society as a whole, the entire electorate, and that is nationalist, unionist, loyalist, Republican, alliance voters, everybody. We are setting a very dangerous precedent if we allow them away with saying, under common sense policing, we will facilitate illegal activity. We might go after you after to stop further illegal activity. No. And to those who have been charged, listen to my interview tapes. Ask your solicitor to listen to them. Hear what the police are saying. It's clear as day. If you have been charged and convicted, there's one of two things can happen. Either the PSNI are guilty of being a co-conspirator because they knew it was going to happen and they allowed it to happen, so therefore they are liable to prosecution, or it was entrapment. That the PSNI allowed you to do something, knowingly allowed you to do something, which they are now claiming was illegal. You went and done that, and then they prosecuted you. That is entrapment. So I would encourage everybody, get back to your solicitors, get back to the courts, and get this in front of the judges, and let the judiciary decide, and the judges, let a High Court judge sit. Because I want to get in front of a High Court judge. I want to expose exactly what the PSNI have been doing, and let a High Court judge, who is the final bulk work between freedom and tyranny for the people, let the High Court judge decide on whether the PSNI's conduct is acceptable. And if this goes before the High Court judge, and he deals with all the evidence in front of him, and he listens to the sworn testimonies of all the witnesses, and the High Court judge decides that it's okay for the PSNI to agree to illegal offences taking place if they believe it's for the greater good, well, that's okay. But let's hear that. Let's have that out in an open court. And this is why the PSNI do not want the Section 46 charges going ahead against me or against Willie, because they know it's going to open a can of worms, and the PSNI are going to be exposed for what they've done. They're going to be exposed anyway. Believe you me, they're going to be exposed. They will not get away with this, because they have stitched people up, and for too long they have these quiet conversations where they turn a blind eye to certain things happening. No longer. You've got away with it for too long. You won't be getting away with it any longer. The PSNI are going to be exposed for exactly what they're doing. And it's to the benefit of everybody in this community, not just one side of it. Because it may be me today. Whether you like me, you hate me, or you agree with my political views, you don't. It's me today. They're legally turning and they're stitching up. It could be you tomorrow if they change their position, which they don't even have a political mandate, or the mandate from the people to have a political position. The PSNI are meant to impartially police, and nowhere in legislation is there any guidelines or is there any legislation that says that the PSNI can turn a blind eye to illegality or facilitate illegality. If they're saying that those processions were illegal, they shouldn't have let them happen. They shouldn't have let them happen. That is a black and white of this. Don't let them fill you with legal jargon. That is a black and white. The law is black and white. It is either illegal or it's legal. Don't let them hide behind "we didn't know," because they're obviously saying they know now whenever they're trailing hundreds of people before the courts. So, I would encourage everybody, and anybody that has been charged, hold the PSNI to account. Do not let them away with this, because you might think this is silly, but let them away with this. Where does it end? What next? Allowing people to be murdered if they believe it's political?